Welcome back to the Tu-Vie podcast, your TV movie entertainment needs podcast. I am your host, James, and today I'm going to be covering D23, the Disney event of the year. So without further ado, let's get into it. D23, I could not attend in person. I would love to one day, so Disney, hit me up. But I was tracking it up. If you guys have been following us on our Instagram, I was posting some stuff that's been going on and the new releases, which you can also be checking out because we also post some fun daily stuff on Tu-Vie Podcast on Instagram. But nonetheless, we have had a crazy big announcement this year, just from the parks to the movies to everything in between. It looks like Disney is on its way back. So we are not only covering D23, but we're going to be talking about the future of Disney starting here. Kicking it off, I want to go by each different the fandom. So I want to start with this bad boy, Star Wars. Star Wars gave us a lot. It may not have shown a lot, but it gave us a good look into what they are doing. So starting off, we got the new trailer for the Skeleton Crew. It looks like a lot of fun. I like this new story of them exploring new parts of the world and giving us a new feeling in the Star Wars universe. Jude Law looks like a great new character, and I'm so excited that we get to see the full cast as they were released that Friday. Now, this was over the weekend, so everything I'm talking about has passed. This was August 9th to the 11th. But it was great getting to see some more insight into what this new world's going to be. In some of the booths, we got some looks at the characters like the pirates and all these other different people we're going to be meeting across this journey. We also got an update on The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is a new movie that's going to be coming out in theaters. Star Wars is coming back in theaters since 2019. Now, I posted this on our predictions episode that I thought this was going to be like the announcement of starting production, but apparently they've been in production for some time now. I think like a month, maybe a few months, maybe even like I think a little 2 or 3 months. All we know is that it's being released in May of 2026, and that Zeb from that episode of season 3 of The Mandalorian, as well as commonly from Rebels, is going to be making a live action appearance in this movie, and as well as the return of the Razor Crest was seen in its footage. Now, I know everyone was not the biggest fan of Mandalorian season 3, but I know the show is fresh and new still. We're getting a lot of insight, and I know it's just Clone Wars or Rebel spinoff stuff. I get it. But in reality, this has been the freshest stuff in Star Wars for a long time. And I know not everyone liked Acolyte, but again, that's still pretty new. Despite its differences on how people may have wanted the story to be told, there are still some fresh stories in the Star Wars universe, like Skeleton Crew coming in soon. But The Mandalorian Grogu feels like a good send-off for this crew. I know it's been very different from what the first season was, but I'm very curious to see where it's all headed next. So like I said, in theaters, May 2026, The Mandalorian and Grogu. And last but definitely not least, my favorite bit of news, Andor Season 2. Andor Season 2 has given us a lot of updates. We got a new look in Diego Luna's character, Andor, as the main character, who we all know from the first season that was just so good. We also got an announcement that K2SO, Director Krennic, and Saw Gerrera, characters we saw from Rogue One, are going to be making an appearance in this season. While Andor as a whole is only going to be 2 seasons long, the second season is spanning across 4 years. Not in our 4 years, or not releasing it across 4 years. In the show's timeline, it'll be from whatever time that is, 4 years later, Rogue One. That's exactly where it's going to be just leading off to. So in some of the footage, I think there was Andor wearing the same costume he saw when he was going to go meet up with that contact that we saw in Rogue One. So my theory is they'll be telling this whole story. They're going to be saying this whole thing, and right as he's going to meet the guy, that's where the story will end, and we literally will be picking up right from Rogue One. So I think you can watch Andor Season 2, Rogue One, connected. And there's one bit of final Star Wars news that I'm going to be saving for a later time, so you don't want to miss it. Moving on to the next big icon, Marvel. This one had truly the most reactions out of me personally, because we got a great new look into our cast and even the costume of the Fantastic Four. In the photo, we got a picture of Joseph Quinn, Vanessa Kirby, Pedro Pascal, and Eben Moss-Backrack as our iconic family. And Joseph was wearing a new look, and it looks pretty good. There was also some leaked aerial footage that someone took of what assuming is like a little town in the Fantastic Four, but it's essentially the Fantastic Four set. It got leaked like normal because apparently surprises don't exist anymore. We also did get a great tease into the theme of the Fantastic Four from none other than the great composer Michael Giacchino. I couldn't be happier than where I am right now, because Michael Giacchino is a fantastic cast and a great new step into taking this family as serious as possible, and telling a great story is needed. We haven't had a good Fantastic Four story in a long time. The older movies with Chris Evans were fine, but this feels right. Moving on from there, we also got a great new look into Captain America: A Brave New World. There was a new trailer and a lot of footage that I'm not going to necessarily show or talk about here. I will give a brief description on what was being shown, but I don't want to have so much spoilers, because I'd like there to be some surprises for you guys. I want you guys to be experiencing all of these things in person for real, for either the movie theater or the trailer. Just I just wish people could just stop sending out these things. I might watch it. I will, just because I gotta come here and talk about it, but it does burn me a little bit. Moving on from that, we did get some more footage over the plot of what this story is going to be. Now, to spare all the details, essentially Harrison Ford, President Ross, he is Red Hulk. We got some more footage of Red Hulk, jeez, and how he'll be looking overall when he is hulking out. We also did get some more understanding of what's going on in this new world with Captain America, and we got official confirmation on what's going on with Celestial Island. Now, Celestial Island, for those who may have skipped out on Eternals, which I don't think you should, definitely go watch it. It's pretty good. But Celestial Island was essentially a celestial coming from Earth, as we found out in that movie, that they have to bring forth a celestial that's buried in the center of Earth. All the planets have a celestial being inside of it, which is drawing its energy in order to be birthed. But with the help of some of the other Eternals, Cersei stopped the Eternal from coming up and dying essentially from all of this thing. It just pretty much turned the whole thing into a marble stone, or at least it looked like marble. And now we find out that a lot of the world's countries were fighting over the resource on that island, setting up facilities, and President Ross pretty much had them join in a uniformed agreement to mine there and share the resource, adamantium. Now, we're all probably guessing that was going to happen, but it's good to see that adamantium is officially coming in the MCU, because this is now going to be a progressive way to get into the X-Men, the Weapon X program, everything. I mean, seriously, having adamantium be officially spoken about in our MCU outside of Deadpool and Wolverine feels good. I feel like we're moving in the right direction, and there could be so many great things. We also got just more footage of Captain America and President Ross communicating and disagreeing, butting heads. Simple as that. We got a lot of great footage of the new Falcon, Joaquin Torres, and Captain America's dynamic and them going on fun missions. This looks like a great movie. Moving on from there, we got a bunch of great stuff from Daredevil Born Again, which was also announced for a season 2. Daredevil Born Again is going to be debuting in March of 2025. We got a great new look into Matt and what's going on with him, Foggy and Karen officially coming back. We saw the footage of them. I know we got all the background stuff. We talked about it before, but it's just great to see them in the trailer. John Bernthal's Punisher had made a few seconds of screen time. We also got a great new look at Kingpin, who is having a different attire. He's wearing a little pin that looks like his mayor, run attire. Maybe he is mayor. And of course, our guy, Bullseye. Now, Bullseye looks great, but the bigger thing that was kind of unsettling was Muse. Not because he looked bad, but because he genuinely looked freaky. Like that comic book to live action adaptation was perfect. It was seamless. And so this looks like they're going to be bringing the heat, very similar kind of action and dark tones that the Netflix show has. And with Daredevil and Wolverine not pulling the punches on its violence, I have a lot of faith now for Daredevil Born Again. We got into a great new look about how Matt is still going his way as a lawyer and not going as Daredevil as much. Now, again, this is what I'm resulting from the Netflix show. I don't know what it is going to be for the Disney Plus show. I know that he did wear his yellow and red suit for She-Hulk, but we also got 5 new suit looks, ranging from his white and black suit to the black and red suit to the Born Again suit. Everything looks beautiful. This is getting some serious dark tones, and I'm loving this. And I'm loving that Marvel is now allowing a chance for the audiences to mature with the content. Now, again, not a lot of information was let out, but all I know is that it's coming out March of 2025 and is season 2 on the way. Next up, we got some small news with Agatha all along. They had Catherine Hahn and all the cast perform this song that was played in the official trailer that was also dropped. This show looks pretty good. It's going into the whole dark route. Maybe we'll get into the more mystical, monstrous side of the whole MCU leading up to the Midnight Suns, maybe all those other different things that we haven't explored yet. For the Marvel animation side, we got some new updates on the Eyes of Wakanda, an official canon series coming to Disney Plus. Now, the show is only going to be 4 episodes long, and it's going to be describing the different time periods of Wakanda. And like I said, all of this is canon in the MCU, so this is going to be taking place of different periods of the MCU in Wakanda and introducing a character that has not been seen before, Iron Fist. That's right, baby. Danny's coming back, and I hope they do a better job than Netflix, because whoa. Now, Iron Fist being in the show is very curious. I wonder which Iron Fist, if not Danny, and I hope that they can incorporate Iron Fist into the MCU correctly, because if this is canon, I want him to come back. I want Luke Cage to come in. Heroes for Hire TV series. I mean, who wouldn't want that? We also got a great bit of detail about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And I'm not talking about Spider-Man. I'm talking about the TV series, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, coming to Disney Plus. We got news that Coleman Domingo has officially joined the cast as Norman Osborn, and Hudson Thames is Peter Parker, who recently played Peter in the What If episode of the Zombies episode. We also were told that we're getting a huge amount of cameos in characters like Doctor Strange, various symbiotes, including Venom, and huge other characters like Daredevil and Iron Man. And we also are going to be getting the Future Foundation with that team. Now, I don't know if that means we're going to be getting different time periods of Peter, or it's going to be different variants of Peter. There was a few different Spider-Men in that lineup of characters. It was also described the relationship between Norman and Peter are going to have. It's going to be very similar to the one that Tony and Peter had in our MCU, but it's going to be a more intense and darker route. No release date as of yet, but we also did get a little insight into the animation. It's going to be 3D animated with a comic book feel to it. Kind of very similar to the 60s bit in Into the Spider-Verse, or Across the Spider-Verse, where the Spot peeked into. Similar to that, but more colorful. I'm very excited for this show. The show looked like a lot of fun. I'm very glad that we're getting not the same old Peter Parker every single time we get a new Spider-Man TV series. I feel like we got old of that. And like with Homecoming, we sped up the process. We know he's bitten. We know he's Spider-Man. Let's just get into the story of it. All of this will be taking place in its own pocket. It's not going to be in our MCU, but it will be attached to a future ride that I'm going to cover in just 1 second. The show looks like a lot of fun. I'm super excited for it, and I can't wait to actually watch it. Like I said, no release date as of yet, but I'm hoping sometime next year. We did get an update on What If Season 3, which is the final season of this show. Now, I know it's not everyone's favorite. It's my favorite. I really have enjoyed the series. I like the whole what if questions on both sides of every comic book spectrum, DC, Marvel, whatever. I also did like the thought of them combining different storylines into one big story, whether it be Thor and then Thor Ragnarok, like they did for Season 2, and it's just so much fun. It truly is. But like I said, this is the final season of What If, so the third season is the one and done. We are getting some new characters added to the roster. Characters like Moon Knight, Ironheart, Shang-Chi, and Vision from the WandaVision show. There has been rumor that the Vision Tales or whatever series is not going through, but I mean, do we really have to see that? Because if, What If, I think is canon to the MCU, actually, I think is canon, then, you know, why bother? Just do a what if. I don't know. As of right now, that's all we really know. There were some details on the episodes that are going to be described, but I'd rather have you guys be surprised. On par with everything that was going on for the Marvel Zombies What If episode, there's going to be an expansion story with only 4 episodes in that entire season of Marvel Zombies. Now, this show will be given a TVMA rating, which is great because I felt like they were kind of pulling some punches in the What If episode. This is going to get pretty good. And we are getting some new characters. Now, they said last time, I think it was at like D23 last year, that they were going to be getting some characters that we've already seen from those episodes and some additional ones. Additional ones like Shang-Chi, Wenwu, and Katie will be fighting the zombies, and Shang-Chi will actually be using the 10 rings to fight off the infection after he got bit, which is kind of cool. I think that's kind of neat using the 10 rings like that. And as well as we're going to be having a Mad Max biker gang sequence, some part of this series. No word as to how long the episodes are going to be. I'm going to be assuming they're about 45 minutes a piece, maybe an hour max, but there's also no release date yet, so anything's possible. And to wrap up the Marvel stuff and the Marvel animation stuff, X-Men 97 Season 2 has been announced, with the Grant Morrison suits being worn in this season. Now, I'm not saying it's the whole season. I just know it's going to be a part of this season. We are also at the same time getting new X-Men characters like Havoc, Polaris, Bishop again, which is awesome. I love Bishop. I didn't think he had enough screen time or just time in the first season, so I'm glad he's coming back. Apocalypse, which we saw the teaser for at the end of season 1. Spoilers, I guess, but I mean, it's X-Men. You're going to know Apocalypse is coming in. As well as Lady Deathstrike and Sabretooth will be appearing. No release date as of now, but I just hope it's as good as the first. That first season was fantastic, and I know there's been some issues with that and regarding its creator and writers and all that stuff, but I just really hope they really bring the heat this time. And last but not least, of the movies and cinema section, we have Disney Animation. Now, Disney Animation is including Pixar and Disney, so here we go. Kicking it off with the Pixar things, we have a new original movie coming out called Hoppers. This is a story about a woman named Mabel who swapped brains with a beaver to learn and discover more about the animal kingdom. Now, this seems like a basic premise of a Pixar story. It's kind of a fun, crazy event, but I'm sure there's a lot more details that were spoken about that I don't really necessarily have details to, but this is all I can find. The movie is set to release in spring of 2026. I'm kind of excited. I like that Pixar is exploring new avenues of storytelling, like telling original stories, but at the same time, them saying they're not going to be exploring these biopic versions of these stories like Elemental and Luca and Turning Red is something I'm not for. One thing I liked about the Pixar movies is that they were relatable in some way, like Finding Nemo and Monsters Inc. and Toy Story. They were stories that we could relate to, but I think having something like Turning Red and Luca, about growing up, and a lot of those struggles are not something we can ignore. We can tell these stories in great ways. And those are not bad movies, by the way. Sure, they're not everyone's favorite, but I think they're really great. And Elemental to me is very close and dear to my heart for very personal reasons. But it was a really great story. I just think in everything with COVID, it was a learning curve. And now they're back. I feel like they're back. And we're going to be getting some great movies. I just don't think only doing sequels or avoiding some personal stories that are great stories we can tell in a theatrical way isn't something we should ignore. I just think they need a different approach. And with that being said, Toy Story 5 was given a lot of details too. They gave us an official concept art for the movie revolving around the toys having to go against tech, as well as an army of malfunctioning Buzz toys. Now, essentially, the story is just going to be the tech versus the toys, them fighting for the attention of Bonnie, and Bonnie being now an iPad kid. It seems like a very unique story. And as with the Buzzes being evil, I'm sick of it. Okay, my boy Buzz doesn't deserve this kind of hate. He is nothing but a great space ranger. He's got to put some respect on his name. But I'm very curious to see about where this story is going to be going. I know Toy Story 5 is a very unique thing to say because I thought Toy Story 3 would have been a good ending. And then with Toy Story 4, having Buzz and Woody go their separate ways. And now Woody returning for Toy Story 5 just feels weird. So in the summer of 2026, we will find out what truly the story is going to be looking like, and hopefully a teaser trailer or something comes out soon. On to something I found very interesting was Pixar's first original TV series, Win or Lose. Win or Lose got an official trailer during this time, and releasing this December 6th, it tells a story of a baseball team that just isn't doing the greatest. I think Pixar exploring into television series is a really unique approach because they can tell great stories and not have to be done theatrically is kind of fun. The animation looks like a lot of fun with, I believe it's Will Forte that is the coach. It's going to be really funny. I like Will Forte. He's a very funny guy. And the show just looks like a lot of fun. So personally, I can't wait to see it this holiday season. And the last bit of news, these two things have blown me away, with one I didn't even see coming and one I was very excited to see. The first one that blew me away was The Incredibles 3 is in production with Brad Bird developing it. I'm a big Incredibles fan. That was like the movie when I grew up, and I truly think it is the or one of the best superhero movies of all time. Because as of right now, it's the perfect Fantastic Four movie. I'm not going to argue that. Fight me. But I think when we talked briefly about it a couple episodes ago about what like they could do for The Incredibles, I thought maybe doing a Incredibles spin-off series with Frozone and Mr. Incredible would be kind of cool. Maybe even Elastigirl, do all three have like their own arc and call it Before the Incredibles or something. I don't know, but having them doing the theme song that Bob Odenkirk's character was doing for the sequel, I don't know, it'd be kind of fun. But I'm glad that we're getting Incredibles 3. I'm very curious as to what the story will be. I hope the kids are grown up and actually having their own superhero story as well would be really fun to see. Like I said, Brad Bird is developing, probably most likely direct, and with no official date as of yet. But all I know is that it exists, and I'm a happy boy. And the last one that I was so glad to see not end up on the chopping block, on the cutting room floor, in the gutter, in the trash, and that something was Elio. Now, Elio was something they announced last D23 and had a teaser trailer for like over a year ago, but then no word since. Elio was a movie that they announced last year and even had a teaser trailer for, and it's a story about this kid who gets abducted by aliens and they accidentally think and believe he is the leader of the planet, and now he has to try and get home while exploring the vast universe. I'm a big sci-fi guy, so this is my kind of story with involving space travel and aliens. I love that kind of thing, and it just seemed like a really fun movie. Now, I've also been hearing some updates about the cast. I've heard that America Ferrera was replaced by Zoe Saldana, or Zoe was just joining in the cast overall. I hope not. I like America Ferrera. I really hope she stood with the project, or they didn't replace her for any reason. I like America a lot, so I hope she's still a part of the project. But Zoe Saldana is also a great talent, so either way, this movie's looking like to be a great fun time. Now with Pixar out of the way, let's move on to Disney. Disney Studios gave us a great new teaser for the new Lilo and Stitch live action movie by giving us a look at Stitch. Stitch was, they showed the video of his ship crash landing at the convention and him running through into the crowd. Now, of course, it was just like onto the screen, but he still busted through it, and it looks pretty good. I don't think every single story needs a live action remake, but with this one, it didn't didn't look how everyone thought it was going to look. It looked a lot better. And I believe they even got the same guy that voiced Stitch to come back and voice Stitch again for this movie. Who I think was like the director and writer of that movie as well. But we also did get a release date, so it's going to be coming out the summer of 2025. So next summer, live action Lilo and Stitch coming to theaters. We also did get an update with Zootopia 2. Now Zootopia 2 got an update on its voice work like I want to say a few months ago, 4 or 5 months ago. So with the returning cast of Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde, we also got a new cast member of Ki Huai Kwan. Not many details were given about the sequel for this, and I'm kind of glad. I'm wanting to be surprised by some of the trailers, but I know that we're going to be exploring more of the crime parts of Zootopia and as well as more biomes. Set to release November 26, 2025, Zootopia 2. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. This seems like one of the sequels that makes sense, and I'm glad that the original cast is coming back. We did also get a live-action Snow White trailer with Rachel Zelgar and Gal Gadot as Snow White and the Evil Witch. I'm not the biggest Snow White fan, so I don't really have much else to say other than I hope that the people who enjoy Snow White enjoy this movie. That's all I'm really gonna say. Not much I'm gonna say there. Frozen 3 is in production and rumored to come out in 2027 with a fourth chapter possibly coming as well. So we got two more Frozen movies coming out in the next 10 years probably. Moana 2 was given a new trailer as well as a new look into the actual story itself. Originally set for a Disney Plus show, it is now combined for a theatrical release, and it puts Moana back on the water to explore the seas, to discover new islands and a new danger that lives among it. We also were given a new trailer for Mufasa, the Lion King, the origin story about how the young cub became king, releasing December 20th of this year. I've been hearing some people say this looks really, really good. I wasn't the biggest fan of the live action Lion King movie. I just felt like they're just making live action movies and make live action movies. Like I said earlier, it wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't anything new that I felt like I had to see. But Mufasa the Lion King does expand the lore of Mufasa's childhood and his relationship with Scar and how their rivalry, or at least Scar's rivalry in the Lion King, is now, I guess, further understood and explained. Which, if you like that, that's awesome. I just am not like that excited, but it does look pretty good. This one really blew me away. We got a Tron Ares update. Now the update is regarding who is composing the music, and I have been sitting and praying, calling to every ounce of life out there to make Daft Punk make the third movie, make all that music, just come back one more time, and it was denied. But the one who they have making the music now is Nine Inch Nails. Tron Ares releasing October 10th, 2025. I'm a big Tron fan, love the game and the movies, so this one I'm super excited for. Very, very curious to see how Jared Leto's going to take the role of Ares, but we will see. Then we have Avatar 3 Fire and Ash. Releasing December 19th, 2025, we got some concept art for the fire people as well as the sky people. Now, we got air, we got earth, we got water, we got fire. That fifth one's got to be some kind of in between it all, or like underground mine people, right? I mean, there's got to be something. I like how we got concept art for both of the two new tribes that we're going to be introduced to in the later movies, especially with the next one being Fire and Ash. It's a pretty cool concept, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. First Injection 2, Sea of Monsters, is going to be releasing in 2025. It's currently in production. So Season 2, the second book, I feel like that's where it's going to be the trend for the next few decades. But the cast is coming back, and the show was fine. I'm not the biggest, actually, not a Percy Jackson fan of the books. I never read the book, so I can't say like I'm a book fanatic, but I did enjoy the show, and I loved the movies growing up when I was a kid, so call me what you want. And the last bit of news that I thought was a joke for a bit, but Freakier Friday, the sequel to Freaky Friday starring Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. It's officially happening and releasing in sometime in 2025, but they've been in production, and it's going to be taking place a few years after everything's happened. I think Lindsay Lohan is like a family now, so we'll see. Now with all the movie stuff out of the way, let's get into the next best stuff, the parks and resorts. Disney Parks and Resorts have a lot of stuff up their sleeve, and I'm super excited to get into it. So let's start with something I would say relatively just small in news, the cruises. Disney has stated that they are not adding one, not two, but four new cruise ships starting from 2027 to 2031. Disney has also stated that on their newest ship, I think it's the Destiny, they're going to be adding a haunted mansion themed bar, which Sounds so rad. Sucks I probably won't be able to go on it for a long time, but whenever I do, I will make sure I get my money's worth. Disney also stated that they are adding 2 new live shows. One is on Hercules, and the other one is The Greatest Showman. That is in the works right now. Now, I believe the Hercules is being on the Disney Destiny ship, and I haven't heard anything about the Greatest Showman one. But for all you Greatest Showman fans, this one's for you. Next up, we also have a spaceship Earth-themed lounge that is going to Epcot. I would love to see that, or just be invited, please. After working there for hours on end, please, I miss her. And as well as a pirates-themed tavern in Magic Kingdom. So you got a Haunted Mansion-themed bar on the water, you got a lounge of Spaceship Earth, which is iconic, and then a Pirates of the Caribbean themed bar in Magic Kingdom. Are you kidding me? This is gonna be awesome. Now moving on to the actual parks themselves, starting off in California with Disneyland. Disneyland has stated that they are doing a new animatronic titled A Magical Life over Walt Disney with a Walt Disney animatronic in circulation with Lincoln. Now, the Lincoln animatronic will be replaced for quite some time during its initial run for A Magical Life, but then it'll be in circulation for both. In Disneyland, Tiana's Bayou Adventure has officially announced that on November 15th, it'll be opening its doors to the public. And also that Mando and Grogu are going to be getting their own version and story in Smuggler's Run on Batuu. This is kind of cool because I feel like Smuggler's Run could be adding new stories, whether it could be Ahsoka, Star Tours added, space battles or stuff like that. I think they could be doing more than just the simple one, which is still great. I love it. I just think there's opportunities for growth in those incredible stories. Maybe you can even now fly and do the trench run in the first Star Wars movie. You can be leading with Red Leader and all of those people for the battle. Oh, that sounds awesome, actually. That sounds really cool. Disney, get on this. Now hopping over to the other side of Disneyland, California Adventure. California Adventure is getting some serious work done, okay? Let's start from the beginning here. Pandora is officially coming to DCA with a new water ride. I believe it's going to be based around like the same, feeling like Pirates, but it's going to be taking you through the journeys of Pandora with the Na'vi, and it's going to be taking inspiration from the second, third, and the fourth movie for this attraction. I think it was stated last year that Pandora is working on something for DCA. I have zero clue where it's going to go. I hope they expand it rather than just take away certain things. But I understand there are some things that could either be replaced or just moved. And the biggest one of them all is that Avengers Campus is not only expanding, it's getting 2 new attractions. We were told last year that we're going to be getting a multiverse adventure ride, very similar to like a dark ride that's going to be expanding across all multiverse with all multiverse characters. Now titled Avengers Infinity Defense, this is going to be a story that is going to be allowing guests to team up with Earth's mightiest heroes and have battles around iconic locations. The plot is over tech that enables the Avengers to jump between worlds has now been stolen by King Thanos and is using it to wreak havoc across the multiverse. We got a pretty good look at King Thanos I posted on our story, but this guy looks pretty menacing. Essentially, you'll be going from different locations in parts of various different battles, and at the end, have a face-off with the king himself. This is giving a bit of Star Tours vibe with Marvel, which is not a bad thing. We also got an official look into the ride system that it's going to be. It's going to be a sit-down pod-like thing that's kind of similar to the Marvel attraction at Universal Studios, the Spider-Man one, but just multiverse travel, going through iconic locations, just seeing tons of battle. It's going to be awesome. We also have another attraction coming called Stark Flight Lab. Now, Iron Man himself, Robert Downey Jr., is going to be reprising his role as Tony Stark for this attraction. The story is over a new mission for recruits that will be boarding a 2-person pod and transported to the test station with a robotic arm centerpiece, and it will just be kind of like picking you up and just kind of doing like those like virtual reality machine things. That it looks pretty cool, but you're going to be flipping and doing a lot of fun stuff. So now Avengers Campus will not have 2 attractions but 4, so it'll be Guardians, Web Slingers, Avengers Infinity Defense, and Flight Lab. As well as the whole park expanding further outwards, we're going to be getting that new shop that's going to probably be expanded. That's currently the Avengers headquarters, is now a shop. It's opened, and I'm sure a ton of other characters included that are going to be now traveling to the park for exclusive times. I know Deadpool and Wolverine were there, but now with this whole multiverse ride, who knows will show up. And last but not least for DCA, we are getting a Coco themed ride that's coming to DCA. Again, it's going to be a boat ride. I don't know if it's going to be very similar to Pirates, but I'm just happy that we're getting Coco. With a movie that large, I'm glad they're actually adding something of that stature to the park, because Coco was it is a beautiful movie. It's iconic, and I'm glad they're actually adding it to the park as a ride itself, and I couldn't be happier. With California out of the way now, let's head on over to Disney World. Now, as we were told, I think during our Michael Bay episode, that Dinoland USA is being shut down. And if you can hold your applause for a second, I know a lot of people are loving that park. A lot of people, hate it. But it's time that we get an update to that park. Now, focusing on the Animal Kingdom update with Disneyland USA getting out of the way, I believe the new land is going to be called the Central Americas, having a focus of two big movies, Indiana Jones and Encanto. Encanto is going to be having its own attraction as well as its own location with Casa Madrigal. I believe it's going to be another boat ride similar to Pirates. And as well as Indiana Jones, he is getting his own new, never before told story. It's going to be completely new, very different experience than all the other ones before. So I think it's Shanghai Disney that has like the mine cart roller coaster, and in California, it's the simple Jeep ride. It's very similar to Dino, but Indiana Jones. Now, both of those rides have their own story, have their own version of the attraction, and it's completely unconnected other than the fact that it's Indiana Jones. So it's great that Disney World is getting their own version of this, and I'm very curious to see. I think they're going to be keeping the still, the same Jeep thing like it is in Disneyland, but a whole new story. And the personal favorite of mine is Zootopia Better Together. It is replacing the prison sentence that is It's Tough to Be a Bug. That ride is terrifying. I don't care what anyone else says. Fight me. That'll be opening up next winter in Animal Kingdom, and it's sounding like it's going to be a lot of fun. Now moving on to the Magic Kingdom, including the whole Pirates bar, we are getting their own version of Cars Land. Sticking with the Frontier vibe, we're going to be exploring the forest with these off-road vehicles, having its own attraction and its own environment. I kind of like that we're not just doing Radiator Springs, we're actually exploring other parts of the Cars universe. So sticking with these off-road cars, going through its own adventure, seems like a lot of fun. It could be taking inspiration from Cars on the Road, that little Disney short series they did not so long ago. So I think it could be expanding on that vision. And with Magic Kingdom, we are finally learning what's behind Big Thunder Mountain, or at least what I'm believing is going to be placed behind Big Thunder Mountain, is its own Villains Land. Now, a lot of people have been craving a Villains Land, and I, among them, would love to be surrounded by these iconic villains and have a dining experience and an attraction, which is coming with the land. Actually, I'm sorry, it's not having an attraction. It's having two. Villains Land is coming in behind Big Thunder Mountain, or what I believe is behind Big Thunder Mountain. It's a lot of space they can be using. You're going to have this dark, gritty environment. Almost looks like the Dark Crystal. And you get to have your own two attractions as well as dining experience. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And last but not least, Monsters Incorporated is coming into Hollywood Studios. Now, the part that is currently Launch Bay and the Ariel Place and the Disney Junior experience might be taken out because that seems like a really good place to be putting Monsters Incorporated. And the reason why is because you're not only getting the chance to meet with Sully and Mike and all the other monsters, but you're also getting an attraction. Monsters Incorporated is going to have its own suspended attraction where you're sitting down, your feet are dangling, and you're going to be going through Monsters Incorporated with the doors flying around you and everything, and it looks sick. I'm super excited for all of these things. These things sound like they're the next best thing for the Disney World park. They've had a lot of great experiences. It took them forever with Tron, so I'm hoping this won't take as long. It's a lot of work, but I think they learned their lesson. And last but not least, we have 3 bits of news for all the other Disney parks outside of the US. For Disneyland Paris, we are getting a Lion King themed attraction that is very similar in the concept art to Splash Mountain. Looks like a lot of fun going down Pride Rock. Seems like it's going to be pretty cool. For Shanghai Disney, we are getting a Spider-Man roller coaster on top of, I believe that is where they are also having, I think they have like an Avengers campus there, so that's going to be pretty rad. And in Hong Kong Disney, we are getting a Spider-Man attraction where he faces off with Doc Ock, and I think it's going to be a suspension ride like Tower of Terror because the photo shows him flipping the cage you guys are in and flipping up, kind of holding you up with Doc Ock at the bottom, so maybe he has to bring you guys up. I think a battle between Spider-Man and Doc Ock with some of the visual things like Guardians Mission Breakout would be a lot of fun. To wrap the whole thing up, we also, on the final leg of D23, we're honoring the D23 nominee legends. Now, every year there are people added to the legends list that are iconic Disney people, whether it would be, Imagineers, actors, composers, everybody that has been a part of the Disney company gets a chance to be nominated. And this year's nominees had a lot of people like Miley Cyrus, Steve Ditko, Harrison Ford, John Williams, as well as famous Imagineer for Animal Kingdom itself, Joe Rohde, and a ton of other great people like Queen Ramonda herself, Angela Bassett. These people have truly been working with Disney to make some iconic pieces of work, and some of them I believe deserve this award a long time ago. But it's great to see their recognition for their hard work and talent go public, and especially for an award this prestigious It's a really just it's a beautiful thing. And that's actually about wraps up the D23 recap episode. What is something you guys are super excited for? Because out of all of that, there is so much to talk and think about. But I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are. Comment below. If you guys did enjoy the episode, be sure you guys are following on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. We have a lot of fun episodes you guys can watch and check out all the past things on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts and the video format for YouTube. Also, be sure to follow us on both Instagram and TikTok, and might as well just follow us on Letterboxd because we post a lot of fun movie reviews and some hints towards future episodes, so you never know what you're going to get. Thank you guys again for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.